Welcome to Everything Co-op, bringing you information on how cooperatives can help improve your quality of life. This show is being sponsored by the National Co-op Bank, NCB. The NCB is dedicated to strengthening communities nationwide for the delivery of banking and financial services for the nation's cooperatives, their members, and other socially responsible organizations. For more information on the power of community ownership, visit ncb.coop. That's ncb.coop. Now stay tuned for your host, Vernon Oakes.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is Vernon Oakes on Everything Co-op. Welcome this morning to our show. I'm in Ithaca, New York, and I've had the pleasure of going into the GreenStar Grocery Cooperative. And this morning we have Joe Romano on the line with us from GreenStar. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm fine. It's a little warm up here, but
It is. I'm in a cool place right now. But listen, let's get right into it because I'm very excited about your store. I'm on your webpage. It says GreenStar means delicious.
Yeah.
I like it. I love it. How many stores do you guys have?
Well, we have two and a half. We have one about
2.5.
Well, we have one that we're going to open in August 17th. So we're almost there. I feel like that store is there because I'm in it so often, and it's not open to the public, obviously, but that's why I said 2.5.
So you have 2 and 1 in the kitchen. Okay, one cooking.
There we go. Yes.
Okay.
We also have a community space called The Space that we operate as well, and that holds 250 people, and we do a lot of community events in there and that kind of stuff.
Oh, we'll come back to that. I didn't know about that one. How many customers?
Wow. So we have
members or
oh, sure. Well, members we're just coming up to 12,000 members.
12,000.
Yeah, we're in a community of 29,000 people.
Ithaca is 29,000 people.
Yeah,
and not quite half, but almost half, 40% or so, are members.
Yeah, 30 or so, somewhere around there. Yeah. Pretty good.
Excellent.
We're trying to get more people to join us every day because we believe in the cooperative mission. We think it's a great tool for every community to have in their toolbox. The co-op model.
Mission and toolbox. Okay, but what kind of co-op are you?
Well, we are a consumer co-op.
You mind explaining to the audience? I try to do it every week.
Sure. Okay. Well, we are a consumer co-op, but we're also owned by our workers because they are members too. So, but it is a consumer co-op is owned by the people who shop there and become members of the co-op. So we offer a low membership fee. It's actually only $9 a year.
$9, okay.
Yes, okay. And $1 administration fee if you pay yearly. So it comes out to $10. But we have other payment plans, and if low income plan is $4 a year, that kind of thing. But we try to make it accessible to everybody in our community because healthy food is really important. It impacts just about every issue of our day, and everything that's happening in the news is also somehow, in my belief anyway, connected to whether or not people have access to good food and other things like that.
Well, I'm hoping we'll have time to get there and into your space, but I totally believe that too. And sometimes it's hard to connect the dots between a shooting and it seems like almost anywhere now, and healthy foods or something else, particular education. If a student can study or not, if
exactly.
They've got say we cook from scratch. We cook from scratch using local, organic, and all natural ingredients. Okay, I like that.
Yes, we do, and the key is, sometimes that can be seen as something that isn't accessible to everyone because of price, and we work. Really, that is just about our number one mission right now, is to make sure that we have ways for people to access this. So we have a flour program, for example.
What kind of program?
It's called Flour, fresh, local, organic, within everyone's reach. And so if you are on any kind of assistance at all, government assistance or lunch program or anything like that, then you qualify for 15% off and a free first-year membership, which has really benefited, hundreds and hundreds of families in our community, people who never saw a way that they could shop at the co-op and get healthy food. We're also in the schools. We are sponsoring a program this year called Food is Elementary, where the students are taught in the classroom by their teachers about healthy food. And when I went in to see their presentation at the end of the year, they had literally had tried and sampled and knew about, even the scientific groups that they came from and everything, but they knew about foods that I had never even tried. They had tried. So, yeah, it's an amazing program. The kids were excited about food. They went from saying in the beginning of the year that their favorite food was candy bars to their favorite food was cauliflower and stuff like that. I mean, it's
I think you're making this up, Joe.
I am not making. I am not. Actually, there's an article about it on our website. You can read in our newsletter.
Oh my goodness! From candy bars to cauliflower candy bars to broccoli, spinach. Oh my goodness!
And if you wanted to connect the dots to say, crime and issues in the streets, this is actually also a scientific study. This program, and so they're showing that not only is our habits changing in terms of what kids are eating, but it's also changing the habits in terms of classroom behavior, and that's huge because there aren't disruptions in the classroom. The kids are learning, and as you learn in school, you do well in school, you go on to better jobs, and you don't have the kind of issues of income and access to things that cause a lot of the friction in our society today.
So you're saying if you eat better, organic, grown foods, then your classroom behavior is better.
Yeah, well, let's just even stick to the idea of just a vegetable, getting more vegetables into kids and less sugar, and just on that basis alone. And of course, I'm a proponent of organic foods and natural. Our mission when we opened the store was to provide food in as natural a state as possible. So that is at the top of our mission. But we want to do whatever we can do in the real world to make the most change and be the most effective. They're definitely learning about the difference between organic and natural, and they understand the impact it has on the soil. I mean, these are first grade kids, and they were talking to me about how organic growing protects the soil and how important the soil is because that's where all our food comes from, and how important the air is because the plants need it and we need to eat. If you can get this into kids in the first grade, not only do they learn about taking care of themselves and their bodies, but about the planet and society. It's wide ranging and it's huge. It's a huge impact.
I was in a meeting this summer in Kentucky, and it was Appalachia educators, and sometime this one group, I think it was out of Alabama, they had a greenhouse they brought in to the high school. It didn't even reach down to, they were reaching down to middle school and trying to go down, but getting the high school students to go out and plant and be able to have the conversation you just talked with the first graders with made tremendous impact on their education and grades. It was overwhelming, and they made a whole curriculum out of it. I tried to put into their curriculum co-op that wasn't a part of it, but it would get them to know how to run that business on top of it, planting the foods. It's great. Oh, buddy, I didn't expect us to go down this road, and to get to education so quickly, but that is one of the things I've taught for 12 years, and getting kids turned on early on is always exciting. So congratulations.
We underestimate our kids wildly. What the teachers are reporting is that the parents are coming in and asking for help, keeping up with what their kids want now because they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to shop for these foods. They don't know how to prepare them. So when a kid comes home and he says, I want purple cauliflower because it has more vitamins. The more color, the more vitamins. And, they coming in saying, so where do I get this? How do I prepare it? I don't even know. So it's really pushing the families into, providing things that they weren't really just stuff that wasn't on their radar. It's really gratifying to see and hear about.
I hear the passion in your voice, sir. I hear the passion. How long have you been with GreenStar?
I've been here for 16 years. I've been here, yes, for 16 years. This has been a great part of my life. Very proud of it. I get choked up at this part of the conversation every time. I do store tours, and every time I get choked up on this part. But I can go home and I can look my daughter in the eye and say, I'm doing the job. I'm not beating the world, but I'm doing a job that's contributing to our society, and I'm doing a job that I really believe is making our world a better place. And that feels great. That feels great. It really does. So for all the hard work we do here, and we do work pretty hard at co-ops to do all the things and balance all the things we do, we have to operate in the real world, and we have to compete with businesses that don't operate like us. And so it's hard work, but it's very gratifying at the end of the day.
Well, Chuck Snyder, from the president of National Co-op Bank, said that co-ops are nothing but people helping people.
Right.
And that's what you just said. And we've had this show now a little over 2.5 years. October will be 3 years. We were only going to do it for a month, Joe. But everybody that has been on this show choke up when I ask them, "Do you love what you do?" Or I'll say, "Do you like?" And they go to, "I love it. I love what I do." Because it is helping people, and it's nothing more gratifying. Particularly a 1-year-old. I mean, a first grader, man. Hey.
Man, I know.
You got 12,000 members. The first principle talks about volunteer and open membership, that it doesn't make any difference about politics, gender, race, age. It's just open to everybody. Is that the way you all operate it?
Yes, it is. And, see, that's kind of the funny part, because I think, they haven't been doing it so much anymore, but it was for years that, co-op would be part of a late night comedy punchline, you know what I mean? Or, we worked at the co-op, and I guess, or it meant that we were hippies or liberal or whatever. And, I make a strong point to reach out to, conservative groups in our area, which there are quite a few of. We reach out to religious groups. We reach out to everybody, because this is not a liberal idea. I think a lot of people try to pigeonhole us in that way. But throughout the country, and I'm sure you know this, and many of our listeners will too, that, you have conservative governors now that are turning their power companies into co-ops because the power company left town. And the one way they can do this is to turn it into a co-op and make it a community, make the community own the power system, and so on. So, this is something that more and more people of all political stripes are starting to get the idea is, again, a tool in the toolbox. There's times when you want to have a privately owned business. There's times when you want to have all kinds of things, but, there's a lot of good uses for the co-op model.
And we got to stop there and take our first break, buddy.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Joe, so very much. I'm learning a lot, and I'm appreciating this. We'll be right back. Don't touch your dial. Welcome back, everybody. This is Vernon Oaks talking to you about cooperatives. This is Everything Co-op. Our web page is relatively new. It's everything.coop. You could go on and get past shows. You could also sign up to get announcements of who's going to be on the next show. You can just go on www.everything.coop. And today we're having a wonderful conversation with Joe Romano from Ithaca, New York, the GreenStar Grocery Cooperative. They have 12,000 members in a community of only 29,000. We didn't get to sales yet, but they had first graders learning how to grow organic foods and talk about it. And they went from wanting sugar, candy, to cauliflower as their favorite food. Joe, welcome back, sir.
Hi.
How many customers? What's your sales?
Oh, well, we are also coming up on $20 million a year. This is a co-op that started in somebody's basement in 1971. A group of people just decided they wanted to try and get some natural foods, and really kind of started as a buying club. And it has
a group of hippies?
There were a lot of communes around here at the time, so yes. But The signatories, though, include, now someone who has since become mayor of the city, someone else who has been the city attorney. So, the hippies did well for themselves
Okay.
and continue to contribute to our community. That's one of the great things about our community. We have so many active people and so many community-minded people that we really can get a lot done here.
20 million. So the next principle is democratic member control. How does that work in a consumer cooperative where the workers are also members?
Well, it works just like democracy. We don't get to do much around here without the members telling us to, frankly. So, if we want to change any of our policies, we have pretty clear product line standards, and if any of those change, it has to go through the membership. There was a big talk about whether or not we should have meat a while back, and the members voted for it. And so we have had meat for years now, and have a great meat program going. But it's that kind of thing. We just, in fact, elected a new president 2 nights ago. So,
some co-ops, grocery co-ops particularly, they had members and sort of like 2 different voting patterns or something. The workers voted on some things and the consumers voted on other things. Do you have that, or is it just everybody is a consumer member and everybody has one vote?
Yep.
You don't have that complication.
Everybody into the pool. 1 member, 1 vote. That's exactly how it is. And
well, you like the T-shirt I'm wearing. It says onemember1vote.org.
Yeah, here you go.
There's an organization. I don't know if you know about them. onemember1vote.org. You can look at it on the web page.
Yeah, well, I'll look
it's a worker cooperative, particularly trying to get folks like my age, baby boomers, that perhaps have a company and they're getting ready to sell it or they're trying to figure out what to do with it. And so this group is helping these companies, these owners, and the employees, so the employees could buy the company as a cooperative.
Oh, wow. That's a great initiative.
A guy in Chicago is very big on the manufacturing side. Dan Sweeney of trying to get, he said there's so many manufacturing jobs that go vacant every year because they don't have people with the skill sets to fill these manufacturing jobs. So there's a lot of work going on in that area also of worker cooperatives. But back to your democratic member control, you've 1 member, 1 vote. You have policies that talk about in your bylaws that you have to buy so much of your products from local growers.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of things that are beneficial to local growers. Let me just start before I forget it, talking about, a program we have where, for example, we will help a farmer extend the growing season. It's pretty cold up here. We have a pretty short summer. Mm-hmm. And so we'll lend a grower money to build, say, a hoop house or whatever. And they'll pay us back in produce, and it works really well for them and for us because it extends the growing season for both of us. They can make more money. We get more products for our members. So that works really well. The other thing is we have a lot of policies around it. We give advantageous pricing to local vendors, so we pay them more for their products. We also take less of a margin on the shelves so we can give them a better price on our shelves. We also give them product placement, the placement in the aisles on the shelves. A lot of people don't know that, conventional grocery stores often sell eye-level shelf spots or end cap spots in their stores to companies. So you'll see a big company with a big thing of soda, say, when you come in or something like that. They probably bought that spot in the grocery store. We not only don't we sell those spots, we give them to our local suppliers so that they will have that, best opportunity to sell their products. We really try to.
And too often in the local store, I've noticed you'll have the sodas and the high sugar content cereals and stuff on those eye level or end caps.
Right. So not only don't we
necessarily want to give your kid.
Not only don't we sell conventional sugar, but it wouldn't get any placement, and no products get placement other than local products.
Good. Okay.
So it gives people a big help. We also have kind of a bit of a startup. We help startups. We part of this community space was we use it as administrative offices. We have a huge warehouse and then a community space and a commissary kitchen, all in this very large building. But we have cooler space and warehouse space that we also rent very inexpensively to businesses in the area. So, you may have heard of a business called Emmy's Organics. They make these great raw treats, coconut stuff, and they're really good. Their store is right across the street from us, but when they were starting up, they didn't really have any place to store their products that they were making when they weren't in the kitchens that they were renting. So we rented them some space, and we do this for a lot of groups and soup kitchens and all kinds of things. This is a great just way to help local businesses get a start, too.
So your commissary kitchen is for local groups like kitchen?
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to be clear about that. Our commissary kitchen, we centralize all of our kitchens for our stores into one kitchen. We don't have a kitchen. Unfortunately, we tried to get a community kitchen project off the ground, but the rest of the community, let's put it this way, it didn't happen. But
okay.
And, it takes if you've ever heard stories about trying to put together a community kitchen, there's a lot that goes into that. And they are very difficult, even in the communities that need them the most. They're pretty hard to get off the ground.
Democratic member control after that is member economic participation. You've already talked about $9 to annual with $1 administration, so the fee is $10. But this member economic participation goes both ways. You pay to get in, and then if you have dividends or specials for members, what do you do there in terms of economics for the members?
Well, we're working with that one, and this is an evolving situation at our co-op. So we started off with a discount structure or actually we called it a discount structure so as not to put off the public who are not members. So we started off as you had to be a member. Back in 1971, you had to be a member to join. And then we evolved into being open to non-members. But we thought that members should have a benefit there. So what we did was we put the prices, we moved all the prices up a little bit, and then we gave all our members a 2% discount so that there would be an economic advantage to being a member. Now we're moving toward the patronage dividend model, or trying to, and our members are yet to be convinced. They, the immediate discount is hard to convince people. There are a lot of benefits to a co-op to work in the patronage dividend model. The IRS, in fact, has given, pretty good tax breaks to co-ops on the money that they're holding in equity. And that's something that, if you don't have a patronage dividend program, that you're not really able to take advantage of. So we're trying to move toward that, and our members, we're having a dialogue with the members. But as we say in Principle 2, democratic member control, it is up to the members how this co-op operates. So we're having a conversation back and forth, and I think we're on the way to patronage dividend.
Well, I tell you, member economic participation, you get in, you put in $9, $10 a year.
Yeah.
You get a 2% discount. I've shopped there twice now, Joe, and both times they asked me whether I'm a member so I could get my 2%. I told them no. I told them they could give it to me anyway, but that got a smile.
Well, you could have told me you were a member of another co-op, and we would have given it to you. We extend that.
I do live in a co-op. But listen, we got to take our second break.
Okay, sure.
The time goes by fast when you're having fun, and we'll come back and go through the rest of these principles. We'll be right back.
Great.
1450 WOL. Tom Joyner in the morning and Reverend Al Sharpton 1 to 4 on 1450 WOL.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Vernon and Oaks on Everything.Cooperative. We've got Joe Romano on the line with us from Ithaca, New York, the GreenStar Grocery Cooperative.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I was just dancing along to your theme music. What were you saying?
Oh. Well, I want to go to autonomy and independence next, the fourth principle of cooperative.
Oh, sure.
How do you guys work that way? Do you have banks or governments or anybody telling you how you got to operate, or is it total democratic member control?
It is total democratic member control. We don't, we have to abide by the laws of the community, and we have to, act like citizens of the earth. But other than that, yes, we're an independent. We're an independent operation here. We are connected with other co-ops, and we'll talk about that, I guess, later when we get to the sixth principle. But we're even trying to get independent from some of the dirty energy maybe that we're all using. We just started our solar farm this year.
Oh,
yeah, we have a solar array out in Danby, New York, that powers about I think right now 40% of our operation. So we're going to keep building on that. We got a good deal on some land from one of our members, and we're just on track to keep building that array on our solar farm. It's great. It's
you know how many megawatts you got?
Let me see. You could go to www.greenstar.coop and watch. There's a live feed right on there, as well as video. There's a flyover of the thing. I don't know how much we've generated right now. I don't know that number, but it's up there. It's doing pretty well. We're not in the sunniest town. There's a local musician who wrote a song, "I Live Where It's Gray," but we still get a lot of power out of that thing. So
okay,
that was a surprise to us. But yeah, we are independent, and that way we get to make our own decisions and operate in a way that we have other community businesses coming to us saying, so you do that. How does that work for you? I see you guys have. You say you have full spectrum lighting. Isn't that expensive? And we hear that you use post-consumer recycling. Isn't that expensive? And we hear that you buy you pay extra for we used to pay extra for wind power, or you're building this thing. How do you operate your business and still do all that stuff? And we tell them how we do it, because whether they're cooperative or not, they can learn from us.
Well, what you're really talking about is the seventh cooperative principle, and that is concern for community.
Yeah.
And you are demonstrating that with all of these programs you're talking about of how to get energy that does not affect the planet. Yeah. Congratulations, man. That's great. So we just hit my favorite one, and that's the fifth principle: education, training, and information. Do you educate your customers, your employees, the community? Well, you just said you did for a lot of these things you're doing, but tell me some of the programs you've got going there.
Well, last night, unfortunately, some people got shut out. We had a large waiting list for the lacto-fermentation class, Lacto-Fermentation 101. We have a freestanding education building that we got as part of the purchase of the warehouse/community space, and so we have an education program that operates out of there. We have a lot of education in the store about how to shop for less, and how to cook grains and beans and all that kind of stuff. But we have a formal classroom. We have cooking classes. We have all kinds of education, even things like burial that is not as harmful to the earth. We have everything, even things that have to do with pets. We educate. But one of my favorite things about education that I'm very excited about is our new store. Because we've been wanting to get up into College Town for a long time, and our new store is right there for the students, and they can see. We get a lot of people. We have Cornell University, and we have Ithaca College. We have Wells colleges nearby. We have a lot of colleges in the area, and people come here from all over the world. And I think if we can offer them a different model than driving out to the outskirts or out of town to a mall where there's a supermarket and conventional supermarket that with conventional products, if we can be kind of right there in their faces with a different model where they can walk to the store, buy local products, not get in their car, etc. This is something that we can kind of as part of their education when they come here, they'll learn a different model for how that they can bring back to their communities. So that's very exciting for us as well.
Well, it's very exciting. I was excited about this lactose fermentation thing because I'm African American, and it seemed like lactose intolerance is big in our community.
Yes.
So learning about that, I need to learn more and more about it.
Okay. Well, the fermentation does, as you probably know, makes it easier to digest. So that does help. Doesn't help everybody. But it helps some people, depending on your level of intolerance. But
So you're doing a lot in education. What about in terms of education for your employee consumers on the whole governance model of co-ops and how it functions? Because what I do, Joe, in a day, my money-making job is to manage apartments, co-ops, and condos. So I'm managing buildings. And I have found in co-ops and condos, they function and they're successful if they have knowledge and integrity.
Right.
And if they don't have knowledge and integrity, both from governance and management, then they are likely to not succeed. And the ones that I have seen fail, it's because they don't have integrity. They're not doing things according to their bylaws, or they'll try to give somebody a break, their family or friends, or they'll do something that causes eventually. It's amazing how fast that spirals downhill too, as people see it. So how do you train your employees and your consumers about the governance model and how to be active and effective?
So we have all kinds of things, and our trainings and information are just growing and growing. One thing we have is open book management. So that is we teach every employee about the finances of the company, how to read a spreadsheet, how to understand the impact of what they're doing has on the co-op as a whole, on the community as a whole. So, and then we meet weekly in what we call huddles, where we look at the finances all together. Not everybody comes, obviously. We have mini huddles in each department every week as well, and they get that information sifted down to them there. But this really makes a difference because, somebody who is a cashier can say, oh, I see you spend this much money on this in marketing, and maybe this would work better and be cheaper. And, so they know how to give us a better idea. They understand how everything works. Every employee is trained extensively. They have to go through several trainings from the finances I mentioned, but also about cooperatives and how cooperative model works, diversity training, all kinds actually of cultural sensitivity training. And that's another thing that's really been a big initiative for us. We have started diversity and inclusion groups in our store. We also have one in the community. We were approached, and this is something that, I won't be talking out of school. This is something across the co-op sector that has grocery co-ops have not been as diverse as they could have been for a while now. And members of our community, actually called us out on this and said, hey, this isn't cool. So instead of kind of arguing or getting defensive or whatever, well, I won't say we didn't do that first, but we did. But, we gave all the usual arguments like our doors are open, we put out this, and we do all that kind of stuff. And then we kind of backed up and said, hold on a second, that didn't feel right. We went back and said, could you help us? So we hear what you're saying, and, we have been trying. I guess that's what we were trying to say. But I think you're right. We haven't been effective. Can you help us? So, education cuts both ways. And we've been learning an awful lot. And as a result, we have made vast improvements, not in just our hiring, but actually our first black president was elected this week. So,
so the new president 2 days ago is African American. Huh?
Yes, she is.
Male or female?
Female.
Okay.
She's our second female president. But
there's a book that you might want to get. It's called Collective Courage, written by Dr. Jessica Gordon Nimhart, and it talks about the cooperative movement going along with the civil rights movement. It's called Collective Courage.
Courage, okay.
Yeah. the COURAGE, the courage to do this cooperative work. And it's a lot of history, but most people don't know about it. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if this new president didn't know. And what made me think about it, she said most of the cooperative work in the African American community was done by women.
Yes, I have been hearing about this myself. So this is, this sounds like a great book to recommend to Patrice. Yeah,
and you.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we've talked a bit about education, governance, and cooperation among cooperatives. What are you doing there? I know you're reaching out to the local farmers. What are you doing with other cooperatives?
Well, we have, first of all, we're part of a national co-op, the National Cooperative Grocers. And so that has been, I'm sorry?
I said, okay, I know them. So, okay.
Okay. And we benefit, very much from that. All the co-ops around the country do. We're like a virtual chain in many ways. So while we are autonomous and independent, and we completely are, we work together to kind of help. We don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we try to do something. So, for example, we go to our largest distributor with one check every day. And so we get better prices, and we are able to offer better prices to all of our members across the country because of that. There are also a lot of other co-ops around town, and we have an Ithaca co-op group that we get together and we celebrate co-op month together and all of that. There's cooperative living, up on the campuses. We have Eco Village here. We have a Collab co-op, which is a technology, IT kind of company. So we have a lot of co-ops in town, and we do work together quite a bit, actually.
Fantastic. And we're going to take our last and final break and come back and talk a little bit more and wrap it up. Joe, I know you love your work, and I just love talking to you about all that you're doing. And it's absolutely fascinating to me. So thank you for being on the show, and we'll be right back. Please, everybody, don't touch that down.
1450 WOL.
Information is power. That's what makes WOL a great partner with this show. NCB, National Cooperative Bank, is sponsoring this show to give you the information about cooperatives. If you get the information about co-ops, you may want to go out and join one. I belong to the NIH Federal Credit Union, a co-op, and East Capitol Gardens Housing Co-op. We have a couple of grocery co-ops around the D.C. area, and if you come up to Ithaca, you can come visit the GreenStar and get some delicious food. Co-ops, and Joe, our guest this morning, talked about a toolbox. I was at the Greenbelt Housing Co-op, Joe, and they have a plaque that says that co-ops give people the tools they need to create their own destiny.
Yeah, it's true.
And
we all don't have to carry the load either. We carry it together.
That's what I love about co-ops. Cooperation among co-ops is what we were talking about, and that fits in with NCBA CLUSA. We're celebrating their 100th year this year, their 100th anniversary. NCB, National Cooperative Business Association, has been around since March of 2016, and the National Co-op Grocers are a member of NCBA.
Yes.
And so we just want to shout out every chance we can to them and all of the great work they do, not only here in the U.S., but around the world, in creating co-ops and getting people to have control over their own destinies.
Yeah. And helping us open up the location. So, yes. I want to shout out, too.
So, Joe, we talked about concerns for community, cooperation among co-ops, education, autonomy, member economic development. What about the values of co-ops? It's caring for others.
Yeah.
Honesty, openness, integrity. How do you all carry out those values?
Well, that's kind of an interesting one because, we have individual members and their values are different. And so, to represent all of our members with our values is sometimes a hard thing to do. But sometimes we can do it. For example, when fracking started to come to our community, it was pretty simple.
That's drilling for oil? Fracking is natural oil? Okay.
Right. So our concern for our community, our concern for the welfare of the planet, this is all part of our mission. So, it was pretty clear that if you signed up to be a member of this co-op and with that mission, that, our board had no trouble getting behind that. We don't get behind politics very often at all. But this was one that we felt, out of concern for the community, out of care for the planet, and just being able to grow healthy food in our community, we felt it was something we had to take a position on. But, it is the food in the community, and that's the connection here. When I moved to this town, or when I was moving to this town, I was coming up here, actually came up here for our great grassroots concert, which is starting today.
What is the grassroots concert?
Oh, it's just our kind of big concert. We have a great concert weekend. And I'm sorry, it's not starting today. It starts next Thursday. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. But, we all just go out, and it's 3 days of music and 3 or 4 different stages, and it's a big festival up here.
Okay.
I was invited up to that. I came to the town, and as soon as I got out of the car, I didn't even go into the person's house. I stood out and looked around and said, I lived in New York City at the time, and I just said to my wife, what are we doing? Living in the city and business like this. We should switch that up, which we ended up doing. So as we were making that decision, I actually made the decision to move to Ithaca in GreenStar Co-op. This is before I had a job here, before I even thought about getting a job here. I walked in. They had the food I eat. They seemed to have, people that I could get along with. I looked around. I said to my wife, "This looks like it's the kitchen of this community, and the party is always best in the kitchen." So I'm pretty sure we can move here. And we walked a few more steps and got back by the dairy case, and we said, "Yeah, we can move to this town. We should move here." And we made that decision right in the co-op because we could tell. You talked about delicious food earlier. It's kind of one of the first things you said. And, that is our mission, to bring delicious, healthy food to people of our community, to be able to offer that, and to get the response from the community that we do, the love that we have. In the economic downturn, we were worried. We were worried that people were going to try and, pinch some pennies. And no, we saw double-digit growth during that period. That's how the community rose up and support us during that. And I'm getting choked up again.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Anyway, it's really a great thing to be a part of. I'm very proud of the food that we provide for our community. I'm very proud of the relationship we have. It's just a great thing, and it's all because of the cooperative model that this exists in our community. We're all, it's just like I can't picture what this community would be like without us. And I know that sounds a little egotistical and self-serving, but it isn't my place. It's 12,000 people's place, so that gets spread out quite a bit.
And it just might be true. I mean, hey, even if somebody considers it egotistical, I walked in there and it was bustling. There was lots of people shopping, lots of smiles, very friendly. People helped. I asked any question. People just, they were easy to help. Matter of fact, there was one woman a clerk, she was like, "How can I help you?" It just came right up. It wasn't I'm going through the store and nobody knows I'm in there. So what you experienced, very friendly, very nice, very easy. And I've been fasting, so I didn't eat a lot. I got a little bit I came in for some bee pollen and some coconut water, so I got what I came in for. But I'm coming off today, so I'm expecting to have dinner at your store this evening. So.
Oh, great! I'll look for you.
Speaking of politics, though, I wanted to give a shout out to the National Rural Electric Co-ops. They've got something going on they called vote.coop. It's a web page. And they're trying to get cooperators to vote this election. I really can't see anybody that's a cooperator not picking sides
Yeah.
I kind of think the side that most cooperators would pick, but I'm not going to go there. But okay. So, but getting folks out to vote, and this on this vote.coop, you can register to vote. It tells you the election deadlines, give you candidates information. So I really encourage people, whether you're a cooperator or not, and I would encourage you, Joe, to in your webpage. I went on NCBA's webpage, and it scrolled at the top and clicked on it, and it takes me to the webpage to get people to get out and vote. One of the other things I've heard, whether it was from the first month of October that we did this co-op month, it was a guy from Senegal. He talked about once you're in a co-op, you become much more community-minded, and you get your mayors and your lawyers, your city attorneys, and you get your school board members that come out of a co-op because they learn the value of social participation. So let's get people out to vote here.
Yeah, I would just say, we don't have to pick sides. Just kind of go down the principles and see who fits better. And vote for them.
I started that because I wanted to get Bernie, Hillary, and the Donald on the program. Mm-hmm. And one way of doing it is just taking the values and the principles and then put them all and say, okay, where are you, Hillary, on this? And where are you, Donald? And where are you, Bernie, on this one, openness or democracy for all? Oh, boy, that one sticks out. Okay. All right. So I just this election season, I'm 69. I'll be 69 in October, and this seems to be the most important election season of my lifetime.
Yeah, same here.
Heading the country one way or the other, and it's also amazing to me how diverse Americans are, because if you're for Hillary, you're on one side. If you're on Bernie, you're either further on that side. And if you're for Don, you're on the other side. And you got many people on both sides. I used to think if they weren't on my side, then there was something wrong with them. But since I've been in co-ops, okay, that's different. Let's figure out how to work it.
Right. See, that's the thing that you I think just touched on maybe the most important thing about a co-op is that you join together in respect with different ideas, and instead of saying, you're crazy, you say, wait a minute, let me look at that idea a little bit. It's really different from mine, and let me take a look at it because I value that person's opinion, and that's a hugely different way to approach difference than just setting up camp and fighting for your side.
So I've decided that we need to get the House and the Senate to go through co-op training, okay, so we can get things done. Totally agree with you, buddy. Last comment for the folks out there?
Well, co-op is a great model for your community. It can solve problems on the tiniest level. There are millions of co-ops, there are billion cooperators around the world, and doing things just with help from as small as a thing as a bowl of rice to a $20 million business. And there's a place for co-ops anywhere in between.
Joe, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being on the program. You just told us a whole lot, and I think everybody out there listening really enjoyed it. And just keep up the great work, and I'll come and see you as often as I can.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing this to our nation. It's really important. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Everybody out there, we will see you next Thursday. Have a very cooperative week, and let's solve problems and make our world a better place. Have a great day.
$14.50 WOL.